Hello everyone, this is a really quick interim video, sort of sandwiched between the sample pack ideas I've had. So the video before, this is the project that we made, and we were going to expand on this in the next video, which I'll perhaps try and do by midweek. But I think it was Ian, someone left me a comment, thank you for leaving the comment, and they were asking about how I would take a sample and make rhythmic ideas. Now, they did state that perhaps they wouldn't be as interested in knowing about drums, but more sort of melodic samples. So what I've taken from that is we're going to look at these, perhaps this guitar line. Let me just solo this, which is only one strum per bar, but we can look at ways that we can actually create a groove and a rhythmic idea with that. Now, if this isn't what you meant when you asked me how to create rhythmic ideas, just leave another comment and I'll try and I'll get round to different ways. But what I wanted to do is look at some really quick tips that I would use to create rhythmic interest with quite a straightforward sample, I suppose. It's in fact, I can show what the chords are. If I expand this out, it's just D minor, A minor, C major, and G. Now, the first thing I'd do, I've soloed just this track, just the one Ibanez guitar track, and as you can see, the locator at the top, I've just got 4 bars highlighted. So once I put loop on, it's going to get to the end of bar 4 and go back to 1, just so we can audition it. Okay, now with this highlighted, I'm going to click on the E. I'm going to use a plugin that I don't use that much actually, which is called Loop Mash in Cubase, and it's a cool plug. It's a cool effect. But before I do, one of the ones in filter. Do you remember we looked at this in the last video, and it was step filter. So it's under filters, step filter, and I think it comes with all kinds of presets as well that you can mess around with those. But basically, that's one way. Can you see? This is the amount of rhythm. So 16th, 8th notes, you've got glide, bass and resonance, cut off, all kinds of things, and then you've got the wet dry mix there. So you can change all of these steps around as well. So you can come up with some really quite funky stuff. I'll probably completely mess up now. All of these will do different patterns, and you can actually do things with pasting in patterns and stuff. But you can look at see all of these change, and you can come up with some quite weird things. So that's step filter. Sorry if I'm moving through these quite quickly, and if you want me to do a video purely on one of these effects or one of these techniques, just let me know. Okay, so I'm coming out of step filter and I'm going to go to loop mash. Can you see here? It's still under my insert effects, so we just highlight the track we want to work on, click the E, come to the drop down, and loop mash. You could have kept step filter going as well, so you could have both. So you can see what loop mash is doing. It's actually got a loop going here, and it's keeping that continuously going. Now, these are sort of, I suppose, note lengths you can do. So at the moment it's set to a crotchet. We can set that to quavers or 8th notes or 16th notes. And can you see here the actual increment of the bar changes as I click on them, so you can see we've got that at 8th notes at the moment. Now, when I play, nothing's changing, but you have to hit one of these pads. And can you see here he's got tape stop 2, tape stop 1, so that could be a cool effect. And can you see how that was going to do in 8th notes? Now if I did that with a minim here on the right, can you see that's much longer? Now, if you wanted just one tape stop, that could work. But what you can also do is mess around with the rhythm there. So that gives a kind of a strumming sound. It gives a rhythm. Each one of these, so if you click on, if you hover on each one, it'll actually tell you what it's doing. So, cycling 4s. And it'll keep it going. It's got some weird stuff on here as well. That's quite good. I like the reverse. That's quite a cool one. Now, once you found one you like, what you have to do is click on write. Read comes automatically. click on it. And you can do more than one. So once I've got that and I wanted a tape stop at the end, I could hit tape stop. But if I just come off read and write, keep read on, I'm going to come off write. If you're unsure about automation, this at the top here, basically it's a way of automating the effect to work. And I've actually done a video on using automation, so check back one of the earlier videos. It wasn't that long ago. So I can actually use the automation layer. Let me get rid of those. Oh, sorry, I've deleted them. Can you see? That's now created sort of an eighth note idea for me. Now, it's really worth experimenting with Loop Mash. It's a cool one. I don't use it enough, I have to say. But as effects, when I read the comment, they're the two that sort of sprang to mind straight away. There probably is loads of other things you can do. But really quick, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to creating, I'm going to kind of create these as MIDI using Groove Agent. Now, I want to look at the sampler as well, and that's in this lower zone in Cubase. So you can do Control-Alt-B, will bring that lower zone, and you can go to Sampler, and you can actually drag one of these samples in and play that rhythmically, because you'll get the keyboard appear. So I'll show you as. Oh, did it drop? Yeah, there you go. And you can actually then rhythmically change that. I think I must have muted the sample track, but that doesn't matter. But I'm going to do a whole video on using the sampler. I'm not looking at that today, because what I'm going to do, I'm going to just minimize that down. I'm going to right click and I'm going to add a new instrument. So I've gone right clicked in this area. You can press the plus, and remember you can also get it for the right zone as well. But we're going to look at adding this Groove Agent in. So I'm going to add track, and what that does, again, that's muted it for me. So I'm just going to take the mute off on this because I want this to work. So that's that little M. If you see that yellow, that means it's actually muted. So we're soloing these. But if I click on any of these pads at the moment, I've got no sound at all because I haven't loaded anything into these pads. Quite often you can load drum sounds and things up on this preset, but what we're going to use is, as was requested, use it for melodic sounds. So I'm going to take each one of these guitar chords, I'm going to copy it onto each one of these pads. So I'm going to take the first one, copy it onto pad 1, second one onto pad 2, then pad 3, and then pad 4. Now, there's loads more things we can do with this, but this is just purely, I'm just touching on things that we can use, how to create rhythmic elements. Now, look what we've got. Now, if I'd remembered, which I never remember, I could have hooked up my USB keyboard, and every time I play C1, can you see it says C1 here? It would trigger this one, C sharp one would trigger this, D would trigger this, and D sharp. We can change all of those, but let's stick with it as it is for now. The only thing that I would suggest changing at the moment, can you see here? I've written this far too long, Ibanez D minor root. So I'm going to right click on that pad, and I'm going to rename the pad. I'm going to call it D minor. And I'd probably do the same with each one. So right click, can you see the next one here is now A minor. So I'll go to rename pad and I'll call it A minor, and so on. We can look at if you wanted to do that. And don't forget, if you go back to my earlier video, I'll show you how to use all of these options along here and how we can pan them to different speakers and things like that to really create some quite wacky sounds of it. But all I wanted to show you today is that we can actually then trigger that from a MIDI keyboard, or we can, this is our Groove Agent track. We've still got bar 1 to the end of bar 4 highlighted. I've just double clicked in this because we've got nothing to edit at the moment. I've just double clicked in there. It's made this editable region, and I double click again, bring up the piano roll, and do you remember what we said it was? It was C1, I think. So I can actually now right click in the piano roll, create some really strange rhythm. Oh, on to bar 2. I'm not going to spend too long, sorry, on creating my mad rhythm. So I'm going to copy those. Okay. And that's using Groove Agent, which really is designed for percussive sounds and drums, but we're using it for melodic samples. It works cool for that. I really enjoy using Groove Agent for melodic samples. All I've done here is right-clicked on each pad and changed the colour of it, just because I like different colours rather than grey all the time. So. And the rhythm is then purely down to whatever you want to write in the piano roll. You can just pencil it in or play it on a keyboard, which is even better, I suppose, to actually play it. And now the only other thing that obviously, as I think of others, but these are sort of because I only got I think it was today the comment came in, but these were just when I was thinking, well, how would I do it? These were the ones that I initially thought of. And to keep the video short, I won't go into too many, but I'm sure there's loads of others in Cubase you can do. But one thing that would be worth looking at if you wanted to is actually editing in the main arrange window. Now, by pressing H, I can expand this out. I can drag this out to make it much bigger. I could actually right-click, get the scissors, or press 3 also gets the scissors. So one will send me back to my just cursor, my normal, the standard cursor selection. Or if I press 3, I can get the scissors. Now, at the moment, I'm snapping to a beat. Can you see when I'm moving this across? I'm creating a beat. But if I went to quantize, see at the top here, I've got it on snap. That's quite a useful one, snap, because if that wasn't on, so if we press J or click this little sign here, I can move this anywhere, which is cool. But I want J on, I want this snap on, because I want it to keep a rhythm that I'm going to create. I want it to sync to the rest of the track. So what I could do, instead of a beat, if I went to quantize, and can you see my quantize is set to 16? So all that means is I've got 16 increments in this bar to make a rhythmic idea. Now, I could just go through these and cut them into sections. Oh, sorry. As I go. Oh, I'll tell you what I did there. Yeah, that is quite useful, actually. If you press Alt, it will create them all for you. And actually, that was the one I wasn't planning on using that. I was planning on using, if you do Control and Alt, it eliminates snap or deactivates snap if you wanted to go into different increments. But let me just do that again, actually, because that will speed it up. I was doing it a long-winded way. If you press Alt, and that whole bar was selected, it split it to 16ths. But if that was to 8th notes, and you pressed Alt, it would split it into 8th notes. Now, if I go back to my object selection, so just press 1 back to my cursor, I could just literally take some of these out. Why not every other one? I don't know. And then, if you did this with each bar, and then if you did some as 8th notes, some as 16, some as 32s, you get some really interesting sounds. You could even reverse some of these under functions. It's under audio processes. Reverse. And can you see how it swapped that one around? Or you could even, if you like, the initial attack of the note, by left-clicking on it, keep left-click down, drag it where you want, still with left-click down, and press Alt, will copy the region. So you left-click, keep left-click down, copy it where you want, press Alt, then left-click. And can you see that's making a rhythmic idea purely in the main arrange window, which is cool as well. Now, I'm sure there are numerous ways we can go about changing all these. I'm just doing Control Z there to undo those. Okay, that was I quite like using the arrange window, actually, because you can actually see it as it goes. But I think the two effects, loop mash and I've forgotten what the one was on filter, under filter, step filter, yeah, because it's a step, that's right, step filter are cool. But I love working in Groove Agent as well. I think just converting those simply to MIDI, those 4 chords, converting them to a trigger pad and then using MIDI and the piano roll, the stuff you can come up with is cool. And you know that you can change all sorts of things in there. And if you look at the earlier video that I did on working in Groove Agent, you can take the tail of it and change the lengths, all of those sort of things. There's so many things you can do on each sample. But if you wanted, we can recap in Groove Agent and look at. In fact, I'll tell you what I'm going to do soon is I'm going to make some quite industrial drum sample. Perhaps I'll do it as a Groove Agent preset, and we can really go into depth of how I work in Groove Agent, which would be quite cool as well. But I hope that helps. There's 4 sort of quick ideas, or even maybe it's 5, I can't remember, but 4, I think it's 4 ideas of how you can create rhythmic interest from a simple chord sample. And you can do this with anything, but I just took the chords because it was in our project that we're going to work on next. Okay, good luck with those.